All right, hey, this is a SUGOI podcast. My name is Andrew, and yeah. Yeah, see?
Right.
Well, there's other people here.
Yeah,
For
there's
example,
other
there's
No,
Big
this
Blue.
is the Andrew cast.
Yeah, this is the
Yeah.
Andrew
Oh,
cast.
my bad.
Welcome.
We've changed our title, guys. We are no longer Sugoi Central.
Yeah,
It's the Andrew and his goons.
Yes, this is
All right,
the Andrew
goon
and his
number
goons.
one.
There's Ryan, Hunter, Misty, and Blue, right? Did I get that right?
Yep.
Yep.
All right.
I'm goon number 1. I'm Hunter.
I'm good number 3. Blue.
I'm friend A.
I'm friend A. It's not even goon. I'm friend A.
I'm Goon 3.5 as Ryan.
The British goon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh sorry, I get my own title. I'm British.
I'm
a
British.
goon.
I'm British.
I
I'm
think
a
that was
Muslim.
the best intro ever. Congratulations, guys. Thank you.
No, it's all you, man. It's
Yeah.
all you.
Anyways, today we're gonna be talking about dubs, the good, the bad, and the ugly dubs.
Ugly.
The ugly, not even ugly, just the disgusting dubs. Okay. Tokyo Ghoul Route A's broadcast dub is one of them. Literally, there was 2 seconds in between, like the dubbing was not lined up with the animation at all. It was like a second late. It was so delayed. It was bad. Never gonna walk those waters again.
It was the broadcast dub you're talking about, right?
Yes, but lately broadcast dubs have been great. Like Noragami, it was Noragami broadcast dubbed. I believe that was broadcast dubbed because it was only
I
like.
think it was. It wasn't on the first one that I remember was Psychopath Season 2 and Assassination Classroom.
Assassination Classroom was a fantastic broadcast dub. I had to say that was my favorite broadcast dub so far. I was
Alright,
so.
well, first, explain what a broadcast dub is, just in case somebody doesn't
I will.
know.
So basically, what happened with so anime airs weekly in Japan, and what we originally had to do when it came to anime, we had to wait, probably sometime between 6 to 12 or 18 months for a dub to come out, unless of course it was like Naruto or it was Pokemon or anything like that. But they kind of noticed that the demand for it was kind of growing. So what they kind of do now is that they do it on they're about 4 weeks behind or so. So a show will start airing in Japan, and then 4 weeks later, while it's still airing, the dub will start coming out as well.
But even though they have a broadcast dub, they also try and dub it again, right? For like the Blu-ray or DVD release?
Well, no, because they've already dubbed it. They'll then compile it all together and then release it on the Blu-ray.
I did not know this. You guys blew my mind.
Oh yeah, Assassination Classroom was one of the broadcast dubs that came out that was actually top-notch broadcast dub, and it was Seven Deadly Sins was one too.
Oh shit.
Assassination Classroom is my favorite broadcast dub though, because that was fantastic.
It's one of my favorite dubs in general, to be honest.
Yeah, it was
that's on my list. So I must put that higher.
It was perfectly dubbed though. Like they did not miss a millisecond. They did not miss anything. It flowed fantastically.
Well, because I'd never heard of what they were doing with broadcast dubs at one point. So I started watching Assassination Classroom subbed, and then the dub started coming. I was like, oh, what's this? Why the hell is it dubbed? So I kind of watched them both simultaneously. So I was ahead in the sub version, but then I was rewatching it, and I can honestly say, people will give dubs flack, but that is probably one of the best ones I think I've heard. And it was broadcast dubbed as well, so it's kind of showing it's doing a good job with it.
Well, I sadly started with Tokyo Road A's broadcast dub, and that was a mistake. I was like, what is broadcast dub? And I'm like, I don't get what this is. So I watched it. I'm like, this is horrible. This is disgusting. This is just terrible. And I closed off of it instantly, went back to the sub.
Was you hated because of the dub, or was it because the show is? Because I've not watched the second.
The show was fine. Like I could deal with the show. It goes off from the manga, but I could deal with the show. I enjoyed the show enough in the concept to watch it. But I just love dubs, and I love dubs that are done well. So I was like, so if this is done well, I want to see what dubbed voice actors they're going to use for the characters. And it was poorly done. It was really crappily made, and it was just bad.
I was having a conversation with a friend of mine the other day about broadcast dubs, actually, and she was saying that she's noticed a bit of a trend in better translation quality from them. Not necessarily voice acting quality. That's still up in the air, but when it comes to the translations themselves, it seems like now they're a lot more careful about it when they do a broadcast dub, because like Ryan was saying earlier, how it used to work is you had to wait until the anime was finished, and then it was kind of all dubbed at once.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas now, if they were to make liberties and change a lot of lines, it could potentially affect later episodes that relied on something being translated a certain way. And they've totally screwed it up. So they have to be a lot more accurate now. Otherwise, things could go wrong.
Wow, I did
But
not know that.
Isn't that kind of bad? For example, like on specific genres, for example, comedy. In previous times, it seems that they would take some of the jokes that wouldn't really translate well in Japanese and like try to localize it. But if nowadays they try to make it like literal, some of the jokes would just like fly over like people's head and like they wouldn't really understand it.
I think it's a bit different though with comedy when it comes to that, because like with Assassination Classroom, if you miss something out and you change a bit of the dialogue, then you might miss something important. Whereas the jokes, they're just there for jokes. They're not there kind of the story elements, are they? They're kind of there just to make people laugh. So,
Then, do you really see many like straight up comedy shows get broadcast dubs? Like, I'm not saying that nothing that gets a broadcast dub isn't funny, but
Well,
yeah,
it
isn't
seems
the
like
point
primarily
of,
they have a more serious tone to them.
isn't
a
the
lot
goal
the
of
time.
broadcast dub having like all of the shows that are being simulcasted have a broadcast dub, or are they just gonna like stick like specific like?
It seems like from what I've seen so far, because I've only watched a few, but it seems like the shows that are getting the most kind of hype and look like they're going to be the most popular, they're the ones that are getting broadcast dubs.
It's like a select few that are the only ones that I've seen broadcast dub so far.
So
like
it's like when it did Tokyo Ghoul, it did Psycho-Pass Season 2 because the first season was really popular, and Assassination Classroom's manga was really, really popular before it got broadcast dubbed.
And it was just, they're all popular shows, and they're not going to do it to every show. I hope that becomes a thing eventually, because it'll just make me happy.
It'll just boost people's confidence.
I disagree on that side point, just because then you're getting the really shit shows that are getting dubbed. So the next School Days comes along and they just dub it, and I'm like, no, thank you very much.
It varies studio to studio as well, because like some things that aren't very popular are getting broadcast dubs as well. Like Dance with Devils a few seasons ago got a broadcast dub, and like it got hyped because of its relation to like being by the person that wrote Diabolic Lovers, but most people didn't give a shit about that anime as far as I could tell, and it still got a broadcast dub.
Yeah, I think most broadcast dubs so far have been done pretty well, and not all of them are like super popular shows that get broadcast dubs. Like one of my favorites was Keikai Sensen, and I don't believe that had much of a hype train when it was initially announced to being an anime.
As far as I'm aware, it didn't really have much hype.
It had some.
It talked about a bit, but
It had some, but it didn't have a lot. Like it wasn't like Assassination Classroom, which was super hyped and a super popular manga.
It was mostly after like episode 1 and 2, and like people saw like what kind of show it was that the hype started getting going.
Yeah, it was my favorite broadcast up so far.
That's and Death Parade got a
Classroom.
broadcast up, didn't it?
Oh yeah.
That reminds me, because that was one of the, especially the first episode. That's one of the best, like one of the most well done episodes I think I've ever seen from a show for a first episode.
Yeah, I just love Deckham's voice actor. To be honest, his voice actor is like the Morgan Freeman to me. It sounds so good.
His voice is very different between the Japanese version and then the dub as well. It's like very tonally different, right?
Yeah, it is different.
Mm-hmm.
And it sets the tone of the show.
It's an interesting choice. Yeah. It's an interesting choice. It's kind of nice to always see when a dub voice actor actually makes a character their own instead of just copying what the original voice is.
Well,
like
that's something I want to talk about, because I feel like a lot of the flack from people who only watch subs is due to things like that the English dub, they try to make it their own, and instead of like going literally what the Japanese like voice actors did, because the Japanese voice actors, they get directions from like the director on like how the actor is supposed to sound like, how they're supposed to act like, but the the dubbers, they only get like the Japanese like video, and then they have to like just like read off the lines basically. And a lot of times it seems like the voice acting isn't on point with what you would expect with a character. For example, like they have a certain expectation of a character, but then the voice actors take like a certain liberty to make it their own, and it doesn't come off right.
Well, I think that's a fair point, but I don't think that can be avoided because they're not having any sort of conversation with the original directors. So I kind of think it's hard for them to have the specific direction that might be needed. Because again, I mean, they don't have the original. I don't know if they have the original script or not. They have their own script, so I mean, they can't. They can only do what they have in front of them.
Right.
I want to talk about one anime in particular that I feel like it was spot on with the dub, and that was Code Geass, because that was fantastically dubbed, and it set the tone perfectly for the anime.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't that
Like
show?
each,
Wasn't that show on? Was it on Adult Swim?
Probably.
You might have been.
Yeah,
Yes.
It seems like a lot of the good shows that have really good dubbing is on Adult Swim. If you guys look at it right,
yeah.
it's because
As an Englishman, I unfortunately can't get Adult Swim.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, Code Geass was fantastically dubbed. The voice actors fit each character. Lelouch, Suzaku, C2, Shirley can go on, and I could rant on about it forever. But, like, I believe they did not mess up that dubbing at all. Like, it flowed fantastically.
I mean,
And
not everyone's seen it here, have they? I don't think everyone's
no.
seen it here.
now, me, Ryan, and Blue have, I believe. We're the
So-
only three that's watched it.
So
Yeah.
talking about specific moments, probably, but there's a lot of really good moments in the show where the dub kind of shows it, like how good it is.
Especially at the ending of the season 1.
Yep.
When
And-
a certain
and the end of
two
season
people
2.
draw revolvers on each other, or guns on each other, it's just you feel it in the air. You feel it.
Let's
watching it.
avoid spoilers.
Yeah, let's avoid it as much as possible. But-
yeah, I agree. It's one of the best dubs.
That was a good dub. Now let's talk about some bad dubs.
Oh, this is my shit. What's up?
Oh,
All right.
Yeah.
Let's start
Since
bashing
you're
on
like
stuff.
the resident dub watcher, Andrew, what are some of the dubs you really just can't stand?
Okay, so like the ones I cannot stand is like there are some dubs like old ones. Like I tried to rewatch Rama 1/2 and it was pretty bad. Like when I was young when I watched it, it was really good because I didn't know any better, but when I rewatched it, the quality was bad, everything, and just the voices just it was just. And then I watched this one show. I cannot pronounce the name of this. I'm gonna just do this real quick. This show right here. All the voices were bad for me. Like I couldn't. I could only watch like 30 minutes of it, and I was like, I'm done.
I know that's a lot for the old Gundam shows from the 90s. Like the dubs are absolutely trash.
Yeah.
But they appealed to the younger audience, so the younger audience wouldn't really give two craps about the dub. I was talking to one of my friends who watches anime occasionally, and he says that he used to watch Gundam a lot as a kid, and he collected like figurines and figures, And
Hold on,
he's
hold on.
a
The
he's a
name
college
of it, I think it's Keanu-kun. I don't know. It's about some spirits and shit, and it was pretty bad.
And anyways, Mitchell's my friend who's in college, and he was watching the Gundam dub, and
Which Gundam?
I don't know, but he said he went back and tried to watch a few different ones, and he said that the dubs for the Gundams in like the early 90s were off by a lot, and like it was really bad. It was very cheesy too. And yeah, as when you're younger, you don't really notice much, Andrew, but when you're older, you kind of notice every detail.
Oh yeah. It's like when I was younger, watching like I'm gonna say some of the best, pretty much dubs that are out there are any shonen that was shown on like 4Kids, Saturday morning cartoons.
Yep.
Those are some of the best that are out there because they got a large pool of voice actors and stuff, and they got money too.
So it was well done. Like
Yeah.
they rarely made mistakes.
No.
I think when it comes to shonens though, like especially with stuff like Naruto that's airing at the moment, or anything else that's going to be long running, I'd probably suggest to go for subs instead of dubs because it's going to continuously keep being released.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just I feel like with Naruto and One Piece you can't really mess up the dubs that badly like you can in some other shows where dialogue is highly important. You know, like Naruto and One Piece, like their dubs aren't bad, sure, but I feel like
It's a lot
They're
easier
not-
because there's a lot of like
yeah.
fighting scenes. There's a lot of like repetitive.
the focus is different than other animes.
As long as you get the scream down, that's the most important thing. As long as you get that massive scream down when you're in pain, then with a shonen you'll be fine.
Like I would not want to have to dub the Monogatari series.
Oh jeez, that would.
God.
Oh my lord,
I feel like that's just a train wreck waiting to happen.
that would confuse me so much. Being one of the dubbers for the Monogatari series, they were such a pain. The dialogue. One of the worst dubs I've ever seen is Higurashi, though.
Oh, I should have at that one.
It was so bad. Like, it was the voices were high pitched. They were annoying.
Yep.
And
Well-
it didn't flow with the anime like at all.
That's kind of the same, like, in some ways to the Japanese sub. I remember like one of the little girls with the blue hair. Her voice in Japanese was like high pitched and annoying as fuck as well.
I was gonna say which psycho, but they're all psychos. So.
They're all psychos, yeah.
There's no balance. There's no in between. There's no median there. But yeah, like that dub for Higurashi was absolutely trash.
I think dubs like that though give a good a concept that people do that prefer. I mean, you can prefer either. I'm not asked, but someone when people prefer subs and they look at people dubs, they go, oh, dubs are shit, and then they kind of look at stuff like Higurashi's dubs as like a basis. And yes, it's very very bad, but that doesn't speak for every single one.
And it makes me appreciate dubs more, though. Like, having those trash dubs that you kind of go through when you don't feel like watching sub, and then watching a godly dub, it makes you appreciate it more.
Oh yeah.
Because you can't get it for every anime.
Even if like the best dubs out there were still very mediocre, I'd still be very appreciative that they exist because they get anime out there. They create a bigger market for it, like in English-speaking countries, as well as I know I've talked to you guys about this before in private a bit, but like there are some people who just can't do subs. It's not even a preference thing. It's just
It's not
they
possible.
they can't read it. Like my girlfriend's mom has been watching more anime lately, and she needs that because she has major eyesight problems, and she cannot focus on the text on the screen and really pay any attention to the visuals at the same time. So she has to have the dub. Otherwise, it's too difficult for her to really watch. So for people like that who literally can't, it's nice to have that option, even if it is a little subpar, than watching it subbed.
Or people who
Yeah.
don't want to.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, to be fair, it's equally there for people who just don't want to watch the sub. Like, that's fine too.
Yeah.
It's good that they exist for that as well.
It makes me appreciate broadcast dubbing more because they're getting more anime dubbed, and
Yeah.
you don't have to wait for it.
And they're
And,
also getting more actors too, because you need a crap ton of more actors when you're doing that stuff too.
Because there's there's a bunch of anime going on, they need more people. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to talk about of the upcoming dubs is Your Lie in April. I cannot stress enough how much I am excited for that. I'm gonna
Who's it been
rewatch-
licensed by?
Sure, let me check that right now. But I'm very excited for that dub for Your Lie in April because I just think it's gonna be fantastic. Aniplex, by the way.
Oh.
Oh, it's
And-
gonna be expensive then.
yeah, like it's probably gonna be like 100 for the first half, even more.
Illegally download. What? I didn't say anything.
Hey, I mean, I
Once-
want to have the hard copy CD, bro.
One thing I'll be curious about is because a really important part of Shigatsu's like voice acting was how really like intense and emotional the acting was like during like a character's performance.
Yeah,
Because that really is what keeps you invested in those scenes when they're playing. So it's going to be really, really important for the quality of the dub for the English voice actors to really capture that emotion as well.
Yeah, I was watching the trailer. There was one scene in particular that kind of threw me off for a little bit. It made me laugh because there's a scene in the anime where, remember when like they're talking, like three of them are walking at night, and like all of a sudden he just starts running
Oh yeah, yeah.
by the train or the train tracks or whatever, and in the trailer it shows him, and then it's like quiet, and then he starts running, and then like he's screaming in the most hysterical way like ever, and his scream is just hysterical. It doesn't flow that well, but I believe it's going to be a pretty good dub, especially since the anime was super popular. And
I think they've got to be given a chance to make it their own though, because one thing I point to is when we were talking earlier about not knowing the original script and trying to make it their own. Has anyone ever seen the High School of the Dead dub?
yep.
Yeah.
So the thing about it is that yes, it does go off what the original was, but it makes loads of cultural like it references Sarah Palin in the middle of it. For some reason.
Oh yeah.
So like,
yeah.
so it makes itself its own by making in references to culture nowadays, and I kind of think that
They do it a lot.
It's a necessity. It's because you're not gonna understand some of the jokes unless you, like some anime, you had to know the culture a bit better to understand, like let's say the story or different events or different jokes, that you had to understand the culture of Japan. And it's better. I like how they do that. They bring in like their own. They redo it to make it more. Just to make it more
Cultural
comfortable
friendly.
But
I would say probably
personally-
one of the dumbest examples of that though was like the old Pokemon dubs that called like the rice rolls donuts. That was so dumb.
Oh man.
Oh, okay. So
Oh.
I'm gonna get a little off topic, but I was playing what was it called? Phoenix Wright, and she was like, "Hey,
Which
let's
has an
go
anime
for hot
coming up soon.
dogs. Let's go for hot dogs." And it's like, dude, this is a Japanese game. Why hot dogs?
that's kind of dubbed by itself.
But
Okay, no,
I've never
no,
played
first.
Phoenix Wright, but isn't Phoenix Wright set in America or is it set in Japan?
I
in
don't
Japan.
know.
Because that's another thing
Same.
about like High School of the Dead. Like I dislike that he brings up Sarah Palin because the setting is a high school in Japan. Like why would they talk about Sarah Palin? But if the setting is in America, then I don't mind if they're talking about hot dogs and stuff like that. You know?
I
Yeah,
mean,
same.
if you look at it now, there's videos of like British people talking about Donald Trump. Like Donald Trump's worldwide right now.
Yep.
Yeah, but at least
Yeah, but
that country
that-
still speaks English.
Yeah, I'm just cracking a joke. It was a poor joke. I should leave now.
Donald Trump for prez. Let's do this.
Oh, man.
Let's not turn the podcast into that, please.
Political.
Please.
Here's a question for everyone. Again, whether you prefer it on dubs or not, whatever. But what would you say is your favorite dub that's ever been released that you've heard?
All right, let me get this, guys. Let me get this. Afro Samurai.
Yeah.
I saw that
Best.
coming.
You saw it coming. I brought it. I'm gonna slam it down. It's because do you guys know the story of how Samuel L. Jackson got the part?
Not really.
I've heard of it before, but please tell.
So he was somewhere. I can't remember. One of his guys was watching the video, and he comes in and walks in and is like, "Hey, what are you watching?" And he goes, "Oh, this is this anime." And I was like, "Oh, well, what are you gonna do with that?" And I can't quite remember because it was like a long time ago. But he was basically like, "Yeah, I want in on that." Basically, that's how he did it.
And nobody cannot hire Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
Well, having someone like that in anime in general is already amazing itself.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
I think it's hilarious, but fantastic at the same time.
Yeah, it's like, have you ever really watched a dub anime that has like a high name actor before?
Not really. I
Not
haven't seen
really.
any
No.
Hollywood actors in anime. Well,
I mean,
no, not really.
The guy that's a Power Ranger does. That was one of the Power
Yeah,
Rangers. In the
the Black
original
Power
series
Ranger?
does-
I mean,
yeah,
Trigon?
we have
he just bleaches main character.
we have Ben 10's voice actor
Yeah.
as like in basically every anime.
Yeah, I also
Now-
hold on. I want to give a shout out to all the dubbers out there. You guys are the hardest working people out there. I will say that, because like you got to think like how many shows they do probably a week.
Yeah, especially with all the airing anime now, it's
Yeah.
pretty probably hectic.
Oh yeah.
I feel bad for the Naruto people. and
Oh,
I don't.
the
Also-
One Piece people.
also another one to shout out to is Orin High School Club. I love the dub anime because
I was
My
gonna
boy.
mention that one. Yeah.
Really?
my boy.
I was thinking of watching it, so maybe I should watch it done.
Yeah, well, it's because
The dub is pretty good.
yeah. Well, the only reason why I watched that show because I know it's yaoi bait to the max. It was because
Yes.
the voice actor of oh my god, Fullmetal Alchemist is the same guy. That's one of my all time favorite voice actors. I
Is it
forgot his
Vic
Wait,
Mignogna?
Alphonse or Edward?
No.
Edward. Yeah, Edward.
Oh,
I love Edward voice actor too.
Yeah, I totally forgot his name. I'm sitting here trying to freaking find it on my.
What am
I think it's Vic Mignogna, but that could just be me going, "Oh, that's a common voice actor." So
What am I?
yes, it's Vic Mignogna. Yes.
Yeah. I
One
don't
of
know.
my
I just
favorite-
like his voice.
Hunter, you want to
Vic
say
Mignogna
something?
is one of the more popular English male VAs for sure. Like
Yeah, I don't really
He's
watch
done a
dubs,
lot of
and I've
stuff.
heard about him.
Like he
Yeah.
made me watch like Oh Edo Rocket, and it's like,
One of my favorite
it's just a
dubs.
parody anime. It's funny.
One of my favorite dubs is.
Or wait, Hunter.
Dang it.
Your opinion doesn't matter. Sorry.
I'm trying to say something, Ryan.
No, for real. What was you saying, Hunter?
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Everybody good? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
My favorite dub
It's
is.
snowing.
Guilty Gear.
It's snowing today. You bring that up now. My favorite dub is one of my favorite dubs is Miraniki, and I want to say Eureka 7's dub, and along with Soul Eater, because Miraniki's dubs, I feel, if they can get the right voice actor, they can make the anime better, the dubbed better than the sub. You know, some dubs are better than the subs, and I feel like Miraniki was one of the best ones that displays that pretty well. Like, Yuno's voice actor was, in my opinion, better than the Yuno voice actor in the sub, and Yuki's voice actor was better than the Japanese voice actor in the sub. You know?
Still a pussy though. Like no matter what, still a pussy.
Okay, in the sub, his voice actor was so high pitched that it literally it felt like I was listening to nails on a chalkboard.
That's a fair point. Yeah.
And Yuki's was like Yuki, and you know they made the 10-hour remix version of that on YouTube. And
It's kind of like
I'd
when
rather
I watched. It's kind of like when I watched Seraph the End. Like every 30 seconds or 5 minutes, he was like, "My family, my family, my family." It's like, God.
Okay, I do have to say, Seraph of the End's dub was pretty good though. I really enjoyed that.
Oh, I did too. Haka was my girl, man.
Okay, and another thing I wanted to point out I was coming up is there's some dubs that the voice actors are just very plain and still, and they don't have like barely any emotion. They're on point with the dialogue, but they don't have like any emotion in their voices. And one dub in particular I want to talk about is Shinsekai Yori. That dub was very emotionless, I want to say.
I've
Well-
only seen a sub version of it. So.
Because even in the sub version, the characters themselves, it's like it's part of the tone of the show. They're not there's not a lot of times where their emotions show. So
Maybe-
I don't know if that's just the dub or if it's like the tone of the show in general.
Just like the voice actors, their voices stayed, I want to say, almost monotone the entire time. It's like they never rose their voices much. They did occasionally, but it wasn't often at all. It was like they were just having normal conversation like this the entire time, and it was very boring to watch. And it's a good series. I don't recommend watching the dub though, because you're gonna hear this constantly for 25 episodes.
I'm sure
Yeah,
the
that's-
sub is
that's-
better,
that's
but
a general thing though with people will recommend an anime and go, yeah, but don't watch the dub. Just in general.
Yeah, it makes me mad. It's like, I want to say it's all up to you. Watch an episode of each and then decide, because there's some it's up to you. Some people may hate some badly done dubs, and some people may enjoy those badly dubbed dubs.
It's kind of like people liking sci-fi movies because they're so shitty.
Yeah, it's all on opinion. It's all
Yeah.
of just all choice preference.
All right, I want to know something. Have you guys ever watched any type like dub or sub where one person's voice just kind of ruined it all for you.
Yeah.
Oh, right,
Mickey.
okay. There's quite a few for probably all of us, I think.
Like there was this one I watched, but I just I wrote it out. Outbreak Company, and the character I watched it dub, and the character for the princess, her voice was so freaking annoying. It was like she was trying to portray a lolly character, and she was doing it the way she was supposed to, but she overdid it.
I have one in
Yeah.
particular that I feel like almost ruined the show for me, and that was Zero no Tsukaima dub. Has anyone seen Zero no the Familiar Zeros dub? Anyone?
No.
I've seen
Oh
some
my-
parts of it.
Saito's voice actor is the most cringiest voice actor I've ever seen for dub on the planet.
Oh, yeah.
Like I've never seen he's only done 3 roles.
That's
He's
a
only
lie.
been in 3 animes, and this is one of them.
I think about dubs though that I was talking to Mysti about this in private at one point. Is that we kind of because we all speak English, so we're gonna have a better understanding of whether someone's done a good job in doing an English role, as an English voice actor. Whereas with a Japanese one, we don't, as much as I'd love to speak the language. We don't fully understand the language, so we can't really say whether they're doing a fantastic job or they're doing a really, really poor job.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your favorite dub, Brian?
Favorite dub? Either Code Geass or Air Gear.
And what's your most hated dub?
Higurashi by a mile.
Yep.
Oh, it's,
After that,
honest to God, right? I mean,
I
it's got
suffered
2
20
seasons.
episodes of that. Yeah.
It's got 2 seasons, and it only has 1 season dubbed anyway. So I highly recommend not watching it anyway. But
Yeah, it would be very inconsistent even if you like the dub. It's just like it'd be so inconsistent when you moved on to the second season because now you got to watch the sub.
Yeah.
How about
I'm
you?
doing that right now.
How about you, Misty? What do you feel about that? Dub,
You
your
being like favorite?
dub? Yeah.
I mean, I'd probably be lying if I said I didn't think that like Cowboy Bebop was one of the best ones.
Yeah.
But like aside from the ones you always hear about, I would say actually probably the Toradora dub was one of my favorites.
That
I
was
think
an excellent dub. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I feel like most of the voice actors did a really good job at capturing characters and emotions very well, and I even after originally watching the sub, there really wasn't a single time where I felt like the English actors weren't doing a good enough job with their character.
Okay. What was your most hated dub, Misty?
All right, I'm a bit of a hypocrite in this one because I do generally agree with everyone and like people should just pick what they want, but I will actively say please don't watch the Madoka Magica dub. To people.
I did 3 episodes, just couldn't do it, so I might have to watch
The
it.
Madoka Magica dub is pretty awful.
I have a
Like-
confession, Misty. Don't punch me somehow. I watched the entire show dubbed. The entire show
sorry.
dubbed. I didn't hate it.
It's okay, Hunter. You didn't know any better. It was one of the first shows you watched.
There's a few characters that are okay, but like there's also a lot of characters that are just very like way overacted or just very inconsistent with like the acting and emotion put to them. And Kyubey is just it's a joke. The Kyubey dub is nothing compared to this sub like
I can't imagine.
It fits perfectly for it though. His voice is so nonchalant, like he doesn't give to like flying. He doesn't give a flying rip if any of the girls die. He's like, oh yep, she died, and like it's like this kind of higher pitched voice, like a kid almost, And it fit so perfectly because it made me hate the character even more.
I mean, I guess that's fair, but I've watched a few episodes of it and I cannot get behind it.
I cannot stress enough how hilarious I think Kyubey's voice is, or like I love it.
So it's kind of like
even
kiddish.
if that moment it is relatively accurate translation. That scene with Hitomi, the girls can't love girls. It's just like no, please.
Don't even start with
Please.
this. Don't even
Here
What are you
goes
talking
Fury,
about?
man.
Of course they
Let's
can.
put this shit out here.
Yo, like freaking that scene. Out of all the scenes, I remember that one the best of all is that scene. it's so cringy. I was like, I didn't understand the joke really when I
Yeah.
first watched it because it was the first anime I like watched ever.
It-
Not ever because I've watched a bunch of old
Mm.
movies beforehand, but like that was the first anime that I actually sat down and thought really fundamentally about it.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, like that's really the only one that I really would actively be like, please don't watch it. In general, it's like, even if I think a dub is kind of bad, it'd be like, you want to watch the, Higurashi
each his
dub?
own, yeah.
I guess go ahead, but you're gonna have a weird time moving on to second season. In general, it's just like, okay, do what you want.
How about you, Baloo? Do you have any?
I don't know. I haven't watched enough to really say, I guess. But I guess, like, from what I know, Bebop and Baccano are, like, the best dubs. And if we're talking about terrible dubs, I guess I have to point to, like, the older, like, mainstream shows, like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon.
Yeah.
Because I remember watching those and, like, in English dub, and it was like, wow, this
so
is...
cringy.
This is
There's some of the
very-
cheesiest dubs
But they're
I've
more
seen.
Yep.
they're different. I don't know if I want to say they are different though because they were first they were dubbed first, correct?
What do
They
you
were,
mean?
Like they didn't show they aired the dub before they don't even have subs for them, do they?
What are you talking about? It was made in Japan.
It's
Yeah.
made in Japan, mate. Of course.
But
it do.
Pokemon, wait.
So, of course they have subs.
But they released the dubbed at the same time as like Pokemon was airing in Japan though.
No, they didn't. It was.
No, they didn't.
Quite a bit behind.
It
Yes.
was?
Yeah.
Yes.
At the current moment in time, because they managed to catch up, so they're about at the moment the dub for the current Pokemon series is about 15 to 20 behind the Japanese airing, but it's always been behind by quite a bit.
But it first started airing in 1999. They never aired like 1990, 98, 98, 1999 in America, and that was when the dubs, like they didn't release the subs in America beforehand, did they?
No, I don't think they release subs in any way in America. Like,
Yeah.
in America, they just straight up release a dub, but that doesn't mean that the subs didn't exist because it was made.
It just
in
we
Japan.
didn't get shown the subs.
You didn't get
though.
subs at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's
That's
because
why
we didn't know any better.
And yeah, that's. I agree. I want to make another point is that I feel like everybody considers the old classic best dubs are the old classic shows.
Yeah, pretty
Death
much
Note,
anything that was
Cowboy
on Adult
Bebop.
Swim that was shown in dub is pretty much good because, like, pretty much what everyone's saying, most of all those ones were on Adult Swim. Like they said, money can really buy you better actors, better scripts, all that shit.
Does that mean
Money
I
is
don't know?
power.
Does that mean I don't know any good ones then? Because I can't get Adult Swim.
Well, if they were on Adult Swim and you watched them how you watch them, then yeah.
But I think recently it's less Adult Swim and more like Toonami and Netflix.
Yeah.
Because recently Netflix they've started trying to make like deals with like anime studios in Japan to try to get like subs and
that's an
dubs
awesome idea,
released in
too.
Netflix. And I know that I haven't watched the show, but Space Dandy, I'm pretty sure like
I have
it's
watched
one of
it.
the first shows that like was released in Toonami before it was released in Japanese TV. So like
I've watched
that
both
was one show where
seasons,
like
and that show was funny as hell.
yeah.
And if you guys want to get a reference of it, it's Cowboy Bebop, but a lot out there. Like, it's just ridiculous. You don't have to watch the show in order. You can just watch little pieces and bits in there, and just give it a watch. Like you're eating dinner, you got nothing to do. Watch one episode. It'll make you laugh.
There's some I want to say there's some dubs that spoof themselves that have a joke on dubs, and that was like Ghost Hunt, wasn't it? Yeah, Ghost Hunt.
Ghost
Ghost Stories.
Ghost Stories. Not
Ghost Stories
Hunt.
and Chin Chan.
Like they sound literally like abridged anime.
Yep.
And they're hilarious too. And like I remember the first time you showed me the like clips of Ghost Stories Blue.
Yeah,
I was like, is this abridged? And you're like, no. What?
Has
this is like
anyone here?
legit though.
Go ahead.
And like you should all go like watch after you watch this. It's on YouTube, I'm pretty sure.
It's hilarious. It's the best abridged series
Because
of all time.
so basically what happened was that in Japan, ghost stories didn't really sell well. So when it came time to like dub it, I guess like some of the people in charge of it didn't really care about it. So like they had like some guidelines on like how to dub it, but a lot of the rest was like, okay, do whatever. So then they made jokes about like Christian Scientology or like politics. They just like threw it in there in the middle of like the dialogue, and it was really like
Didn't they
trolly.
change some of the animation too?
I don't know about that. All I know is about the
Because like
dubs.
she like started praying. She's like, "Oh Lord God, save me," blah blah blah, and then like
I
yeah,
think
like just
I
starts.
think that was in the show, but that's not what she was saying. She was saying something else. Then like the dub was just like, yeah, let's
Or
just
Lord
troll
God, our
us.
Savior, please forgive him, or whatever. And it's
Mhm.
so hilarious. It's just, it was good.
Yep.
All right, so
Um,
like, has any of you guys ever watched it? Like, what was it? An abridged series that was way better than actual series?
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Dragon
Yeah.
Ball.
I stay away from
Disagree.
abridged
I
series.
disagree. I disagree in the Dragon Ball one, Dragon Ball Z one, but
Okay, they're I want to say they're almost equal because it's so something strange,
they're both good for like.
and it
so,
don't
like,
look good.
For me,
Guess
it was
who it
Sword Art
is?
Online. Sword Art Online's abridged version was better than the real thing.
Go Snappa. Sorry, I'm gonna go on.
It's because like my friend. It's
Shout out to Team 4-Star, by the way.
yes, 4 Star is fantastic.
I heard something what happened with 4-Star. They're not doing it anymore.
They weren't gonna. They released one episode of the Attack on Titan abridged, which was hilarious, hilarious.
It was the
Yes.
copyright system. Because the copyright system was ridiculous. It was just
It-
unfair on them.
It
Are
made
they getting
me-
tighter?
It made me weak, the Attack on Titan abridged, but yeah, they're not doing that anymore. I don't know. They haven't released. Are they still releasing abridged?
Yeah. It's just the concept of the copyright system on YouTube's kind of people abusing it by copyrighting because they'll never get any repercussions for it. That's off topic from dubs, by the way.
Yeah,
but,
we've gone off a bit.
Well.
topic.
I just wanted to know because it's somewhat on, but somewhat off.
Yeah. Well, I think that basically wraps it up for today's podcast.
Mhm.
I've been missed. Or I just,
You've been missed.
You've
Whoa.
been
You're
Misty.
Misty. Hi,
Whoa,
Misty. How
whoa.
you doing?
Whoa. I've been changed personas. Can I be I don't know. Can I be Samuel Jackson?
Can I be
Can
a
you
pretty
can you
little
sound like
princess?
Samuel
I've been
Jackson?
for-
I've been Samuel Jackson, and
I've been
I was
Donald
gonna
Trump.
say this motherfucker alive.
Let's
I've
make
been
America
Donald
great again.
Trump.
I'm sick of these motherfucking mistakes on these motherfucking podcasts.
I've been Hillary Clinton. Anyways,
Boo.
guys,
I'm your local
the weatherman.
local weatherman,
Anyways, guys, I've
and
been
it's a
Hunter.
forecast of rain and sadness.
Well,
Jeez,
that's a good way to end the podcast then.
Yes, I've been Hunter.
I've been
Blue here?
Misty.
I'm Ben Andrew.
You two guys are so quiet. Okay, you know what? This is the end of the podcast. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Whoa, whoa, calm down.